Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the only podcast on the internet broadcasting live from inside the walls of Vault 101. I am Jimbo from Retro Game Lounge. That, right there, with the beard, and his beard, is Tyler from Metroid's Prime. But you guys already knew that, because he and his beard are my co-hosts here. And this is the Nerd Bucket Podcast. But you guys already know that because, well, you're listening and you're watching. So either you clicked on the link or you clicked on it on iTunes. You know, we know you're not idiots. We like to think our listeners are smarter than the average listener. At least I think so. Do you think so?
We hope so.
I hope so. I hope so. So, in an effort to kind of one-up Tyler's bravado last week of showing off the official Nerd Bucket podcast t-shirt, which, by the way, you can get at retrogamelounge.spreadshirt.com, link in the description box if anyone is interested. I thought I would do the same thing. You know, I got my little shirt here, and I've also got the official Nerd Bucket podcast hat. And this is the only one in existence right now because we don't have an official merchandiser to sell this. Unfortunately, you can't get that on the Spreadshirt site, but we're working on a solution for that. But man, dude, tell me this didn't come out nice.
Oh yeah, dude, that looks so sweet.
It does.
So sweet.
It's like a patch. It looks like something like some dude who works at a garage would be wearing. He's like, "Yeah, man, Nerd Bucket Podcast for life." So,
you know, I think you just gave me a great idea.
What's that?
We need the Nerd Bucket Podcast work shirt with the patch.
Fuck yeah! Can I have one?
Dude, how awesome would that be?
That would be pretty goddamn awesome. I gotta tell you, I'd sign up for that because I love me some work shirts. I really do.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yes, that's how you know country boys here. But
well, what's been going on, Jimbo?
Okay, so some weird things have been happening here in the Retro Game Lounge, and I'm really starting to think that a project that I've been working on for Halloween, since here on my channel, on the lounge, on the Retro Game Lounge, lounge, in case I didn't say that enough, we do a Halloween special every year. This will be our third year, making, I guess, the trifecta of the Halloween special. It's my personal favorite holiday. And we always do something big for you. The first year we did, a little top 5 for Halloween. And the year after that, we actually did another top 5 for Halloween, and we did some gameplay footage of Nightmare Creatures, little Halloween-based game. So I thought we would take it up a notch this year, given that I've very quickly adopted the new YouTube live streaming. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I don't know how many streams I've done, but it's quite a few, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. Very easy to use and just really, really fun. And it's cool to get to interact with all of you guys on YouTube while I'm just sitting there bullshitting playing a game. So I thought we'd do that, as basically a live version of Retro Game Lounge and, give you something Halloween-based. I'm not going to tell you what it is just yet because I'm hoping to work out the kinks here. But I got to tell you, man, this project is, like, cursed because I am experiencing, like, the casebook definition of Murphy's Law when it comes to this. Everything that has gone wrong, it could go wrong technically, has gone wrong. It's just like one damn thing after another. One thing fails, and the next thing fails. I'm like, what the fuck? So I will give you guys a little hint, and I'm sure a lot of you smart guys out there will figure this out. It does involve the Sega CD. I'm not going to say which game. So I hook up my Sega CD. This was early last week, like Sunday, Monday, something like that. And everything's fine. I'm just running a few tests, making sure everything's good, that it reads discs and everything. And I noticed that I was having trouble getting XSplit, which is what I use for live streaming, to pick up on it. The capture card is working fine. That's picking it up, no big deal. But XSplit simply won't do it. And I did a little bit of homework, and it seems that composite actually does not work. It simply does not pick up composite at all. Even though my capture card does. It has a firmware update where it reads it no problem. So you would think that if the capture card picks it up, why wouldn't the software? But that's neither here nor there. So basically the solution to that is you get an RCA adapter which converts composite into HDMI. So did a little bit of light homework, and there's a little one which I will grab and show you here that I picked up off of eBay. Saw a few videos on this. For those of you not watching but are listening, it's called the Mini AV2 HDMI Upscaler to 1080p. And a little kind of white square with RCA, aka composite, on one side and HDMI on the other. It runs on USB power, which I thought was really bizarre. And it doesn't give you a prong plug, like you have to plug it into your computer or have an outlet adapter. I was like, that's kind of weird. But it's got a rocker switch for 720 or 1080p. So I was like, okay. So I watched a couple videos, and the first video I watched, the guy was demonstrating this, and he was doing it on XSplit, which is what I use. And he showed the two monitors, the gameplay monitor and his computer monitor, reading it, and everything was fine. I was like, dude, this is like exactly what I need. Like, this dude's even using the same shit I am. So I'm like, this is perfect. So went out and dropped the 16 bucks and got it. And I get it, and it does not fucking work at all. And I'm thinking, all right, maybe I just have a dud and I just need to get a replacement. Type in do a little bit more homework on YouTube, which I should have done originally. And you want to talk about a split jury on these things. Half the people are saying these do not work at all. Like, they get one, this one guy got one, that didn't work, he got a replacement, and it went at like 1 frame per second when the video actually did work. It was like, So I'm like, wow, I really wish I had looked all this up before I spent this. I mean, it's not a big deal, I can get my money back, but I was like, what the fuck? So if that's not enough, I figure, okay, and I find this next part out as I'm in the result of testing this, so I want to see if it actually works. My Sega CD stops working. Just like that. When it was working fine, not 5 days before that. Nothing happened. There was no power surges hitting the house. There was no nothing. It simply stopped working. And I'm not talking about reading discs. I mean, it stopped getting power. I tried a different adapter. Like, just nothing works. I'm like, you gotta be shitting me. I'm like, seriously. Like, first the adapter, and now the damn Sega CD doesn't work? And it's not like I can just go order one, you know, from the store down the street. So I'm like, oh, shit. You gotta be kidding me. So, long story short, too late. I took it to the wizards at East Starland because they actually do game repairs and system repairs. And knowing what little I know about these things, typically when the power just dies on these systems, it's something as simple usually as just a fuse that blows out. Because at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, this is like 30-year-old equipment. You know, it's not going to tell you when it's going to die. It's just going to die, especially when it comes to electrics. It's like a light bulb. It will simply stop working. So I turned it into them. Unfortunately, the tech doesn't work on the weekends, so I have to wait until tomorrow to hear back. But I do have a contact there, and I just told him, you know, this is time sensitive. If you can get this moving along, just to let me know if it can be fixed or not. So if it can, go ahead and fix it. If it can't, then I'm going to have to buy another one to get this project off the ground. So I think they quoted me like 20 bucks for basic electrical stuff, which is fine. I mean, that's way less than what one of these things costs to replace. That's a fraction of it. I do have a Gen 2 one, as an FYI. As I understand, that's the more reliable of the two. Well, not mine, but in any case, it's like, I think 70, 80 bucks, plus a little bit of shipping to get to replace these. So if they can fix it for 20, absolutely fantastic. I have ordered a different, not this one, composite to RCA, or composite, excuse me, to HDMI adapter. This one comes a little bit more highly recommended. It's a little bit more expensive. But everything seems to be in order. One of the bigger YouTube reviewers of things like this on YouTube actually did a great workup video on this. He gave it 5 stars. He's like, just get this. It's simple. It's easy. It's no big deal. It's got an S-video input and everything, and it seems to be a lot better made. So we'll see if that pans out. I'm supposed to get that this week, and I hope everything works out so I can do this live stream for you guys, because as far as I know, no one's ever done this before. Again, I don't want to tell you what it is, but I'm sure a lot of you figured it out. I think you guys are really going to enjoy this, so stay tuned. That is all that has happened to me, Tower, so that's a shitty week when you look at it like that. I mean, basically, my next thing you know, the aliens cabin over there is going to fail, like my signs are going to start shorting out, the room's going to catch on fire. I mean, like, what the fuck?
Could the retro game lounge be haunted?
And the whole thing surrounding Halloween, right? So it's like, this is weird. Right. You know, and next, is it next? Not next Friday. Is the Friday after that? Is the 13th? We have a Friday the 13th this month, I think?
Yeah, I think we do this month.
See, if it all happened on that day, I'd be like, fuck this. I'm not doing this video. This thing's cursed. What can I do, right?
Let's see.
It wouldn't be this Friday.
Actually, we don't. We don't have a Friday. No, it's gone. 13th is on. I could have swore I heard somebody say something about a Friday the 13th in October, but no, it actually falls in the middle of the week. It's on Tuesday.
Damn it.
So is your Sega CD Generation 1 or Generation 2?
It's Generation 2, which is the little pop-top, you know, kind of Discman looking thing. As I understand it, the that seems to be what the guys who actually repair these things recommend as the more reliable of the unit, because the design's a little bit better.
Right.
The tray one is a little bit more finicky. It's JVC built, so it wasn't as good. The belts, as I understand, in those fail quite a bit. So there's debate as to whether it has the second one has faster loading times. Some people say it's marginal, like maybe 5 to 8%, slightly faster loading times, but it'd probably be negligible at best. So, but hopefully the Wizards ED Starlane can repair it. They're usually pretty good at this stuff, so I think it's definitely in good hands. So fingers crossed for me, people.
You could just bump it up, the next level, get a CDX.
I've thought about that, and I definitely will have one for, if nothing else, just for ease of playing, because it's like a tiny little console. It's just a little bit bigger than a Discman. But there is one drawback to that. You can't play 32X.
True.
It will not work. So it's...
but if you have a regular Genesis, you could just do it on that.
Yeah,
32X.
You're right. But there is one thing where having the CD and the 32X pays off. I have all 5 Sega CD 32X games. That's the only system I have complete. So it would be nice to just be able to play that. But as a rule, I'd be more inclined to probably play some Sega CD games than I would the CD 32X games. So, the majority of the time I just bust out the CDX because it's a lot less bullshit. It's, one power adapter. It's very simple. Sits on your coffee table and you're good to go. But I'd still have to have the behemoth, with its, 3 massive fucking power supplies and all the wires and connectors and everything to hook everything up. You still have to have that. There's really no other way around it to play the Sega CD 32X. So, I guess there's room for both. Hopefully I'll get a CDX someday just for ease of effort. Do you have one, by the way?
What,
a CDX?
CDX?
Yeah.
I had one. I had to sell it when I was starting a business, so I needed some startup cash, so I've got to get one again. But it was perfect. I mean, it was basically gem mint. I actually need another Sega CD.
Do you?
Yeah. But I'm in the process of rebuilding that collection. I had a nice Sega CD collection and a really nice 32X collection. I'm actually talking to Pete Dora right now, looking about getting. He's selling some 32X games of his, and I'm looking about getting Blackthorn and Chaotix for 32X, which are 2 of the harder to find 32X games. So hopefully I can pick those up. This would be a nice startup for my 32X collection.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, cool. He's offering for a pretty nice price, so they're extras of his.
Good stuff, man. So speaking of Sega CD, man, little mini yard sale story for you. Unfortunately, this didn't happen to me. A buddy of mine actually found a complete in-box JVC-I.
Oh, wow.
As an EYE at a yard sale for $10. And
yeah, you don't see those very often at all.
No, those are very, very rare. And a bit of Sega history for you guys. JVC made Sega CD's first CD attachment, as in the one that normally doesn't work. But it's a cool little console because it's a Sega CD and a Genesis combined into one kind of thing, where it's not, this behemoth thing that requires more than one power supply. It's all the same. And I looked it up. It actually is able to run the 32X on that, but the catcher is you have to put your CD game in before you attach the 32X. Because once you put the 32X on it, it blocks the CD door from opening. So you got to get your disc in, close it, throw the 32X in there, hook everything up. But I mean, there's demos of people actually doing it, so it will work. It is actually possible. You just kind of got to jerry-rig it a little bit. But, so yeah, if any of you guys find a JVC-I out there and you're just not in the know on what those are, dude, pick it up. If they only want a few bucks for it, fucking grab it, because those are hard as shit to find.
Right.
So what else is going on, dude?
Oh, not much, man. I've been playing a little bit of Dante's Inferno this week. That's a game that I've been meaning to play for a long time, and I picked it up on PS3, and then I got it on 360 because if I had the choice between both consoles, I definitely would rather play it on the 360 just because I love the controller, so much better. But
You have very good taste in controllers, Tyler.
I do, and that brings up a new segment that we want to start on the Nerd Bucket podcast, and we're going to kind of move from like the top five to a segment we like to call
the bucket list.
There you go. So, we decided that this week our first bucket list would be what are our favorite controllers.
Indeed.
And so to kind of save time and not drag it out for 30 or 45 minutes like our whole top fives have been, we decided to nail it to like a top three for both of us. So
a top six altogether, basically.
Right. So, Jimbo, if you will.
Okay.
We'll start off this thing.
Do we have to do them in like ranking order, or can we just do like six in no discernible order? Which way do you want to do this?
We can do it like that.
Let's do it in no discernible order, because we're just like, this is our 6 picks. And hey, again, for all of you fucking haters when it comes to lists, and all of you haters who potentially hate the bucket list, this is our list. If you have another list, if you have 6 different picks, if you have 3 different picks, if you have 10 different picks, leave us a comment. Share us your list, man. Maybe we missed one. Maybe we'll be like, I'd like to change my number 2 or number 3. I'm going to swap that out. It's all good, man. It's lists. I know how to make a list. Do you?
I know how to.
Okay, well.
But apparently some of our audience does not.
No, they don't know how to listen to somebody else's list. But, I'm glad you know how to make a list, because I'm glad I'm doing the podcast with you now. That's a good idea.
Speaking of that, I actually got a message last night. You talk about negative comments. Here's a semi-negative comment I got on my top 10 Sega Genesis.
I got to hear this.
Yeah.
All right.
And it was, why'd you leave off Contra Hardcore and Gunstar Heroes? And I was like, is that on your list? Because this is my list.
Is Contra Hardcore that good of a game?
Yeah, it really is a great game.
Okay.
And when I made that list, like I think I made it like 2 years ago. I hadn't played Gunstar Heroes to the point that I played it now, and I probably would include it on the list. But a lot of that stuff has sentimental, value to me just from and the nostalgia related to it, just from playing it, from my childhood and all that. So that's why they made it to my list. But let's get on to our first bucket list. And sure. Jimbo, show me your first controller you picked.
I have a suggestion for this. Since we're not going to do this in like ranked order, why don't we do them? We'll each do them in chronological order, meaning when they came out. You start with the oldest and you work your way up to the newest. What do you think?
All right,
I think that works. Okay, so for the record, guys, I had a tough time picking from this particular generation. I was kind of torn on a couple of these, and I really had to think about it. I was going to go originally with the NES, simply because it was basically the first non-joystick home console controller. Like, it gave us the basic rudimentary format through which all other controllers, even up to now, are based. That you have your left thumb basically manipulating movement and your right thumb manipulating buttons. All the way up to PlayStation, Xbox 360 today, that is still the format that we use. And I think we can safely say we can credit Nintendo with that. As far as I know, they were the first to do that. So bravo to the Big N for giving us a standard, actually, to grow upon. But I figured, the NES is important. It's historical. It set the pace. But there was another one right around that time that I thought took what the NES did and ran with it and made it one step better. And that would be the TurboGrafx 16 controller. And I'm sure a lot of you Big N guys are like, what the? That's not fucking Nintendo! And we're already getting flamed here. Okay, guys, if you're listening on iTunes right now, go to YouTube and look at my video and look around my fucking room. Obviously, I'm not a Nintendo hater. I don't think anyone in their right goddamn mind. Dude, unless you've got a freaking original OEM Nintendo cabinet in the back of your room, unless you got more than one of those, okay, then you're a bigger N nerd than I am. That set aside, why did I pick this one? Well, it follows the same basic format, if you look at it, as the NES controller. It's basically a rectangle. You've got your D-pad on the left. You've got your select and start, although they call it run buttons. And you've got your B and your A. But what does it do better? First thing, you've got turbo on the standard controller, which
built-in turbo.
Built-in turbo. So, on the NES or the Sega or something like that, you had to buy an accessory, a third party or an extra controller to get that. And with the TurboGrafx, you got it right out of the gate, which I thought was really awesome. And in a lot of TurboGrafx games, that comes in handy. Since that console is the undisputed king of shooters, you need to use turbo. And even in some other games, but primarily shooters. Another thing I like about it is that it's a little bit beefier than the NES controller. It feels like it's a little bit more grown up. I mean, let's face it, ladies and gentlemen. I love using the NES controller, but it's a small-ass controller. I mean, obviously, since they were making it primarily for kids, that makes sense. So this, to me, is like a grown-up NES controller. It fills your hands a little bit more. It's got a little bit more meat to it. And it's just, the layout of it, it just feels a little bit more comfortable. It's got risers a little bit at the top, so it's not a flat piece of flat rectangle, rather, like the NES controller. So you got a little bit more to work with, and those turbo buttons are amazing. And you could argue that this is a feature of the console or the controller, but I'm just going to mention it just for the sake of argument. This is the only controller I have ever seen that I know of where you can reset the console by pushing 2 buttons on the controller. You hold select and you push run, and that's basically your reset button for the TurboGrafx. Probably because there is no reset button on the console. But creative thinking, dude, that's, I mean, it's odd that it doesn't have a reset button, but I'm like, dude, they built it into the controller. That's actually kind of badass. That's very ahead of its time. And we take it for granted now, with an Xbox 360 or PlayStation, you can just hold a button and the system will turn off or reboot. It's like par for the course these days. But guys, back then in the semi 16-bit days, that was some cutting edge shit. Like, that really was. So I've got to give this a solid entry in my top 3 controllers, with one major criticism. So I was saying it was cool that they included the turbo buttons on the controller, which again is awesome. The main reason, in my opinion, that NEC failed as far as the TurboGrafx is because they nickel and dimed you for every single goddamn thing on that system. This controller cord is so short that it's absolutely asinine. The reason being is they wanted to sell you the extension to make it a full-length cord, which was like an extra $10 or $15 back then. And by the way, if you have one of those guys, those things are worth $40 or $50 right now. I have my original one, luckily. My mom was actually nice enough to buy me one because she noticed that I couldn't sit on my bed when I wanted to play my TurboGrafx. I had to get up close to the fucking television. She's like, let me get you an extension. So, hi, Mom. Thanks. You're a great mom. So, TurboGrafx 16, man, solid entry, I think, in the top 6 controllers.
I was actually going to bite my tongue on that because I was like, the one criticism I have is the damn short ass cord.
I wasn't gonna mention that, dude. I love me some TG, but they fuck the dog in so many areas on that system. So what's your first entry, buddy?
All right, my first entry, if we're going chronological order,
give me the old school one.
Well, and it's not so old school, but
that's okay.
It's definitely retro these days. But it's the Sega Dreamcast controller.
Nice.
And this, to me, is one of the most comfortable controllers in your hand. Just the way both of your hands sit on this, your index fingers are just really easily on the shoulder buttons. I mean, this is a great controller for shooting games. Mm-hmm. And one thing that was really revolutionary for this controller, of course, was the VMU. And a lot of the games for the Dreamcast actually had little mini games that you could play on your VMU. So you could, pop this out, take it to school, and, play a mini game on your VMU, which, at the time was pretty revolutionary. And one thing that I loved the VMU for was playing sports games, because I can't tell you how many times I had friends cheat during football games that I played. And, I know probably a lot of people that listen to the podcast aren't fans of sports games, but the Dreamcast games, the 2K sports games, were incredible. The football game was really revolutionary at the time, and so was the basketball game. And, to this day, 2K basketball is the, flagship basketball, basically franchise for sports, games on. Well, I think they might do hockey still, but
Yeah.
anyways, 2K does the best basketball game of any system. But anyways, back to the Dreamcast and the VMU. People, when you pull up your plays on the TV screen, whoever you're playing against could, see your plays. So you could switch to VMU play calling and basically bring up all your plays on your VMU where only you could see it. So if you have that cheating friend that always is trying to find out what play you're going to call next, you just switch it to your little VMU screen. They don't know what the hell you're running. And it was beautiful because, I can't tell you how many times I lost from, friends cheating or whatever. As soon as I swapped over to the VMU play calling, I was a damn god among men playing 2K football. But
I actually have a question about that controller now that you bring it up. Was that the first controller that had triggers?
I want to say didn't the PS1 have shoulder buttons?
That had shoulder buttons, not triggers. There's a difference. I'm talking about actual triggers.
Actual triggers?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess so.
I guess it would be because that's before the Xbox, and that's before the PS2, right?
Yeah, because
so that would be the first.
When the PS2 came out, that's really what killed the Dreamcast. Yeah. So yeah, I probably would say it was the very first with triggers on it. So
which is again something we take for granted these days.
Right.
Sega, very ahead of its time.
Right.
I think that was their downfall. Them and the TurboGrafx actually. Again, just too ahead of their time.
Yep.
Timing.
But what have you got next, Jimbo?
All right. So since we're doing it in chronological order, mine is only going to skip forward just a couple of years. This is not long after at all the TurboGrafx 16, and that would be the Mighty Bone SNES controller, the dog bone shaped controller. Okay, so why did I pick this one? This, in my opinion, guys, is how you follow up the NES controller and you do it correctly. Meaning, you keep everything that's awesome about it and you just take it one step further. You add more buttons. I love the diamond shaped of the Y, X, and B and A buttons. That's such a logical layout. And again, that is still present on today's controllers. If you look at an Xbox or Xbox 360 controller, that's still the basic format that we use. So again, Nintendo, fucking trendsetter, man. They're just eternally copied. Another thing I like, it invented shoulder buttons. So to left and right, as far as I know, this is the first controller ever to use that. So it added additional buttons that you could use for things like when you're in a fighting game, you could do block or kick or something like that. And it just made it so much more functional. And I like the rounded edges on this one as opposed to the rectangular shape of the NES. It just seems to kind of fit your hand a little bit better because it fits the swell of your palm when you're holding it. And it's such an iconic controller, man. I mean, there's a very good reason that they sell so many USB versions of these things because it works. You know, it's a simple controller that anyone can use. It's a step above the NES, but without being, you know, the older people these days are just like, you know, oh, the Xbox is too complicated, there's too many buttons. Well, this is still a controller in its semi-rudimentary form, but still with a little taste of modern functionality. So bravo to Nintendo, man. Again, this is step 2 of Nintendo being the trendsetter for controllers.
All right, my next one is still being used today for fighting games, and that is the Nintendo GameCube controller.
Very nice.
This, you know, really, it really revolutionized the fighting controller because I know everybody loved using this controller for Super Smash Brothers back in the day, and I love how the shoulder buttons on this one sit. They kind of cradle your fingers, and it's a very natural feel with the controller. And it has the oversized A button, the smaller B button, and I love that they added the extra joystick on the right side.
Yeah.
That was a nice touch with this controller. But, it just has a really natural feel in your hand. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's what really any great controller is going to do is it's going to, just feel natural in your hand. And, the Nintendo GameCube really knocked it out of the park with this one.
Oh, I
And
agree. I agree.
and like I said, they're still making them today.
Yep.
Let me I just picked this up not too long ago, and this is the wired fight pad for the Wii U.
Nice.
And it's the Metroid version, Samus version of that.
Of course.
And I mean, it's the exact copy of the Nintendo GameCube controller. So still being used today. People still love it. So
I mean, a controller has a definite following when, let's see, 2 generations later, when Nintendo's bringing out a brand new game, and the demand for it is so big that not only do they re-release an official Nintendo version of the controller for the collectors, but they also offer an adapter, so that if you don't want to buy the new one, you can just plug in your adapter and you can use your original controllers. You will never see Microsoft or Sony do that ever. Only Nintendo is going to do that. They don't seem to nickel and dime people the way the other two companies do, where, I mean, let's face it, even on the Wii U, your Wii controllers are backwards compatible. When has Microsoft or Sony ever fucking done that? They're not going to. I mean, it's only Nintendo seems to be able to do that and do that effectively, and without, just kind of gouging you for money. They seem to, at least on that level, they're definitely very disconnected on a few other levels, but on that one, they definitely do a really good job of servicing their fans. I mean, fuck. The Microsoft, when the Xbox One came out, you know how excited I was for Killer Instinct, and then I find out that you cannot use any USB fighting stick for it. You can only use the Mad Catz Killer Instinct one. I'm like, so I gotta pay like $200 fucking just to have a fight stick on this when there's like 8 million other USB ones. And dude, it's USB. The U in USB stands for universal. There is no damn reason that that should not work on an Xbox One. They are literally blocking it to make money, which is absolutely absurd. So since Microsoft is doing the backwards compatibility thing, hey Microsoft, how about you make all the USB fighting sticks compatible? How about that? Or at least some of them. I'll tell you what. Do the Tekken one and the Capcom one. Just give me 2. I'd be happy. Or and the Mortal Kombat one. Just give me 3. I'd be fine because I can go out and find those for like $50. The Mad Catz one, they don't even make anymore. So even when you could buy it, it's $200 now. Shit, $350 if you're lucky. Fucking shit. Microsoft rant. Okay, so my final entry, ladies and gentlemen. This one, in my opinion, was the dawn of a new era in controllers. The same way that the NES was basically the kick forward, getting us out of the Atari age and getting us into the 8-bit and the 16-bit. It laid the groundwork for so many controllers afterward. This one pretty much did the same thing for the modern generation of consoles. This got everything moving. And again, the same format 3 generations later is still being used. That would be the original Xbox controller. This isn't the freaking Duke. I was going to pick that originally, but I figured I'd use the updated version of it. This is the S-Type. Simply because it's so close to what we still use today on the Xbox 360 and the Xbox One. It is basically the same controller, slightly different size, and they updated some buttons and stuff. But the big thing that really counts with this, ladies and gentlemen, and the big thing that made Microsoft, and made everyone take notice of Microsoft, the staggered sticks, which, in my opinion, is literally the best way that you can make a controller. I mean, this is, as far as ergonomics are concerned, this is incredibly well thought out. This is close to perfect, in my opinion, as far as the thought process. Again, you've got the dual triggers. You've got 2 memory card slots on it, which, again, very ahead of its time. You didn't have to dick with it in the system. You could just throw it right into the controller itself. The diamond-shaped buttons. Then you had the extra buttons, which was the big difference between this and the Duke. You had the clear button and the black button down here, as opposed to up here. So short of the bumper buttons, offered on later ones, this is basically the same model as the modern controller that we're all used to. And like I said, this one definitely got the current generation, I should say, the modern generation of video game controllers. This is where it all started, ladies and gentlemen. This laid the groundwork. And there's a reason that they haven't changed it very much, because it works. So Tower, hit me, dude. What's your final entry?
All right, I want to do my favorite of all time, and I think that definitely encompasses this controller. Um, and that is the next version of the S controller, the 360 controller.
Damn
And
Skippy.
to me, this is the best controller. I don't even like the Xbox One as much as I like the 360 controller,
Really?
and the reason for that is the bumpers on the Xbox One controller. They feel a little hard to push down. They're not as easy as these are.
Okay.
I mean, basically, it's the same exact design. It looks a little more aerodynamic and all that on the Xbox One controller, but I mean, this is the most natural controller in your hand to me.
Agreed.
I mean, it just feels perfect. It's perfect for shooting games. Jimbo really hit it the nail on the head with the offset joysticks, and that's one reason that I've always hated playing games on the PS2, PS3, PS4.
Me
Now,
too.
don't get me wrong, I love the games on there, but I just fucking hate that controller with a passion because they really haven't changed anything
No.
from the original PlayStation other than adding bumpers and triggers
And
to
analog
that
sticks.
controller.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I mean, it's the same exact design, and they updated it a tiny bit for the PS4, but it's still got the same, joysticks that are completely directly across from each other, and the natural position of your fingers on the controller are offset, and that's something that Microsoft really has always excelled at, was a great controller.
Agreed.
And it's not just fanboy talk. I mean, it's just
No, this is the
it's
truth.
fact. I mean, there's many people that have said the same thing about the
Oh,
PS4
absolutely.
controller. So
A lot of people have listed this as the greatest controller ever made,
right,
as literally the
right.
perfect video game controller. And as we had mentioned earlier, Nintendo being such a trendsetter for so many years, they paved the way for so many things that we have now. Even Nintendo, in their infinitely intricate and innovative wisdom, basically copied the Xbox 360 controller for the Pro wireless controller on the Wii U. It looks almost identical to the 360 controller. And dude, you know what? Good. That's a fucking good thing in my opinion. So I hope Sony gets their act together and they eventually release. It's like, okay, yeah, we're copying Microsoft. So what? This is a better fucking controller. Stop being stubborn and just admit it. It's a better controller. It's that simple. So,
And Microsoft did the same thing with their going to Blu-ray disc for.
sure.
I mean, they knew it was a better product. They had to use, one of Sony's products to make a better product. So
It's just the way it is.
Sony, when Sony does that with a controller, I will be so happy if they ever decide to change it up. And you could still do with this controller, you could still do your little, you might have to move the start and back button or whatever, but I mean, you could still do your little touchpad there or whatever right in that area. I don't think that would be an issue, but
When they release one of those, dude, I'm gonna go down and buy a PS4 probably that same damn day. I'll be like, all right, that's it. I got no other excuse. They finally fixed the fucking controller. Take my money, Sony. Take it. Take it.
But that is the bucket list, ladies and gentlemen. So
Yay. Inaugural bucket
definitely,
list.
definitely leave your top controllers.
Absolutely.
Listed.
Even if you don't have 6, leave your top 3, leave your top 5. Tell us what you think is better.
Exactly. I'd like to see what our audience picks because everybody has different preferences, and there's a lot of people out there that like the PS3, PS4 controller, better than Xbox One.
They're wrong.
I'm just interested in see, what the breakdown on that is.
Opinions can be wrong, ladies and gentlemen.
And
I have news for you.
How many retro picks we have. So.
I'm sure we're going to get some Genesis. You know, which
Yeah.
I would have included if we had a bigger list. That did do some stuff a little bit better than Nintendo, but compared to the SNES controller, no. I don't
What
think there's
about
any doubt.
what about the Jaguar controller?
Fuck that controller, dude. It's
Oh
like
man,
Atari like rolling back to ColecoVision with the number pad and shit. What the fuck?
they had to have the overlays
It's
for
the
certain
future,
games.
man. No, it's not. It's the past. Fucking
So,
shit.
Jimbo, I want to talk about this real quick.
What you want to talk about?
This week,
Oh,
did you hear that?
oh
Did
shit. We under attack?
It's the Fat Boy of
Hang
the
on.
Fallout anthology. So
I'm calling Homeland Security.
I've got a nuke here,
Tyler has a WMD.
but this thing was $50, and it really looks incredible. I mean, the paint job on it is incredible. Of course, it's plastic, but it's painted to look like
It's like all roughed
kind of
up.
old, rusted,
Yeah.
like metal.
Got some patina on it.
It really does. I mean, it looks incredible. Of course, you open up the top, and it's got your game
You got sweetness inside
games
there.
on the inside. But one thing that's cool is they actually offer you a little sleeve for Fallout 4 for when you get that.
Wow.
So I mean, they were thinking ahead, so people are like, well, what about
That's
Fallout 4?
awesome.
So, you could add that to your little collection, if you wanted to later on. But I mean, for $50, you get this entire collection.
Yeah.
You get, basically the first Fallout, Fallout 2, you get Fallout Tactics, you get Fallout 3 Game of the Year Edition, Fallout New Vegas Ultimate Edition. I mean, that's $50 in itself, and then it comes in this incredible, collector's edition packaging, and it looks great on the shelf. I'm just really impressed with it. I thought they did a nice job. Of course, you heard the sound effect when you push the button.
Hit him with the Fat Boy fucking nuke, baby, and you even get the ching.
Right.
The
Did you
little-
blow out Megaton? Did you blow it up when in Fallout 3?
Yes.
You had the choice.
Yes, I blew it up.
I did too.
Fuck yeah. I wanted to see the
I
nuke
loved
go
watching-
off.
Yeah, I loved watching it in the
I
distance.
just want to sit out there and be like, wow. You know what I mean? Dude, I wonder how many people actually save the city. It's like, dude, you're done with this city. You can hang out and do nothing, or you can blow it up.
If you build a town around a fucking nuclear warhead, then you're an idiot in the first place.
I completely agree. So it's like, yeah, I think I'm going to go with murdering all these people and just for my own little delight, afternoon delight. Just sitting there watching a giant mushroom cloud and people being vaporized. Yeah.
But that definitely was nice for Bethesda to put out such
Absolutely.
a great set for an affordable price. I can't wait to see what the Pip-Boy edition looks. I mean, because if it's anything like that,
it's going to be awesome.
I can't wait.
In just about a month's time, man, I'm a man of my word. I promised you guys I'd be rocking it on the podcast. About a month's time, you'll see it on my wrist. What other podcasts are you going to fucking see that with, man? Fucking CU podcast? No, they ain't going to do it. Gamer Central? No, we love them, but they're not going to do it. No, it's freaking Nerd Bucket, man. We're the only guys with the balls to freaking do that shit.
I'm going to be rocking mine out, too.
Dude, we're going to freaking stereo that shit. We're going to be like sword fighting with that crap. That's the way it's going to be, baby. We're going to bromance our shit.
Yeah, but I can't wait for that game to come out. That's really got me pumped up for the new Fallout. I'm just kind of biding my time.
Absolutely. Me as well.
So, have you been playing anything this week, or have you just been troubleshooting problems with your Sega CD?
I haven't been playing much, man. Haven't really been doing much on the next gen stuff. Half of that reason is because I'm waiting for someone I know that has a beard to get Zombie Army Trilogy, so I'll have somebody to fucking play with.
Yeah, for you listeners that don't know, I'd messaged Jimbo the other day, and I was like, I almost bought Zombie Army Trilogy, but I just
Twist the knife. Just twist it.
Well, I went to GameStop and I was looking around. They had a great sale going on. It was like, dig through their bin of used games, and they were doing like 4 for 20 or some deal like that. And so I picked up 4 Xbox 360 PS3 games, and then I was looking through Xbox One games, and I've got a friend that's been playing through Wolfenstein: The New Order
Nice.
a lot here recently, and he's just got me on a kick to want to play that. So I ended up picking that up because it was like $20, and I think Zombie Army Trilogy was still like 40. So
that's cool.
I ended up getting 5 games for 40.
That's a good deal. Fuck GameStop, but that's still a good deal. Okay, so I've got a little idea for this podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna jump just a little bit on the bandwagon and buck a little bit of a trend that seems to be going on YouTube where people ask for likes. But we're gonna make it worth your time here, guys. I think this could be a lot of fun. All right, if this video, either on Tyler's channel or on my channel, either one, we'll play this one fast and loose. If this video gets 25 likes, we'll start low. Then on the next podcast, Tyler and I are going to dress as white trash.
I thought that's what we were doing already.
No, I mean, we're really going to swing for the fences, man. We're going to go like flat out friggin' trailer trash. Like we're going to go full, which isn't much of a stretch for either of us since we've both been exposed to that from a young age. So, yeah, I'm sure we've got a few things laying around. We could make something work. So, 25 likes, I think that's fair.
Let's do it.
25 likes. Okay, so you guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, either on Tyler's channel or my channel, give that shit a thumbs up. If you want to see me and him freaking white trash that shit up, yeah. And I'll tell you what, if we get 50 likes on this one, we're going to do something big for 50 likes. 50 likes, we will both do the podcast without our shirts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, dude. That's what I mean, it's not going to happen, but like, you're going to see the freaking just the beasts, come out, man. I mean, on Tyler, all you're going to see is his beard. And probably some taco meat, like, coming out. So it's...
Oh, dude, there's lots of taco.
You're going to see some taco meat. On me, it's just going to be, like, freaking... It's going to look like I'm radioactive. I'm Irish, folks. They're cave-dwelling people in a fucking country that's overcast 90% of the year. What do you want?
Blinding white light.
Oh, dude. You'd be like, dude, you've been hanging around Vault 101? It's like, ah! I'm like a fucking retroactive ghoul. So 25 likes, we do white trash. 50 likes, shirtless. I think that's going to be enough of a reason for people not to get us to 50 likes.
Right.
They're going to be like 25 likes, and somebody's going to be like thumbing it down to fucking like bring the shit back down. They're like, no, we don't want 50 likes. No. So,
that's funny.
I think so. So, like this video, guys. We need it. And leave us a comment. We love comments. Right, Tyler?
That's right. I'd like some new questions. I don't think we have any this week, do we?
Well, we haven't really been asking all that much. We need to make a more of a concerted effort to actually ask when we post these on Facebook. So that's kind of on us.
We're kind of lazy.
Yeah, we're lazy. Dude, it's the nerd bucket. It's not the nerd treadmill. It's... it is what it is. But I do want to give a shout out to a particular gentleman who left us an absolutely amazing comment, man. Shit like this just makes my day. And I apologize, this gentleman's name is escaping me right now, but he left a really great comment. It was short and sweet and to the point and said, I don't normally like podcasts, but I really enjoyed this. I was like, wow. Something Tyler and I did made someone switch over to the podcast side. And that was flattering as hell to me. So, sir,
for sure.
I apologize for not knowing your name, but if you're still listening and you're still with us here in the next episode, we really appreciate you sticking with us and giving us a shot. Hopefully we can continue to entertain you. And again, if you want to see us white trash, man, 25 likes. So share the fuck out of this on Facebook. You want to see us shirtless? If you're really curious, 50 likes. You want to see it? We'll do it. We're fucking shameless. We totally will do it. We get 100 likes, we'll do it nude. We won't show it to you, but I mean, you'll just know that we're both not wearing pants.
We'll do it pantsless. So there you go.
Yeah, dude. With like hi, welcome to Nerd Bucket Podcast, the only podcast on the internet without pants. That'll be the lead off, man.
Oh man. Well, I went and watched The Martian yesterday afternoon, and
How was that?
I would just like to say that it is Ridley Scott's best movie in a long, long time.
All right.
It I saw that it was deservedly getting like really, really good reviews. I want to say it's like at 90 something percent on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow.
And which, I mean, usually when you have that many people, giving a consensus, it's getting 94% on Rotten
That's
Tomatoes.
pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. So,
I knew it was going to be awesome. Like, I just, looking at the trailer, I was like, dude, this is going to be the space movie that, like, sets everything right. Like, there's going to be no debate like there was on Interstellar. People are going to be like, this is a fucking amazing movie.
yeah, and it really is just an incredible movie, and I'm glad for Ridley Scott.
Good for
I
him.
saw, I guess it was like last week or so, he was talking about like Prometheus, like 4 or 5 was going to give the origin of aliens, and I'm like, how is he going to make this? He's like 77, isn't he?
Something like, he's been around a while.
He's old. He's getting old, and hopefully he gets some of these other movies out before, God forbid, that happens. But I know they're talking about Prometheus 2 right now, and maybe putting it out with who was the lead chick in the first Prometheus? I forget her name.
Never saw it, actually.
You never seen Prometheus?
Mm-mm. Never got
Oh
around
man,
to that
you
one.
got to see that. That's a great sci-fi movie,
Is
and
it?
it kind of gives, yeah, it starts to give the origin of they call them the architects, and that's basically who created mankind
Right.
and the whole universe of the aliens world. So they created that, and they're like biological weapons created the aliens, and
Awesome.
like basically the whole movie is them, like it starts out on Earth and you see one of the architects like open up this thing and it kind of consumes his body,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like standing in a river and he basically just turns into dust,
Wow.
and his, I guess, genes kind of mix with the weapon or whatever. I call it a weapon, but it's not really a weapon. But basically, he like sacrificed himself to create mankind, and like it shows it kind of swaps to go into the genes, and everything's starting to build and create a form of life and all that. And anyways, through a lot of the civilizations on Earth, they kept finding these paintings like pointing to a certain star,
Mm-hmm.
and through all that, they say, this is where they're telling us to go to, and they go to this planet and they're looking for the architects, just basically figure out, why did you create us? Why are we here? What purpose do we serve?
Mm-hmm.
And the whole movie kind of centers around that. But a great sci-fi movie. It has a great cast. Michael Fassbender. It has Guy Pearce,
Nice.
Idris Elba. Just a ton of great actors. So, really good sci-fi movie, for any of those that you haven't checked it out. And this week I finally picked up the movie we were talking about last week, which was Brotherhood of the Wolf. So
Very nice.
I got the 3 disc collector set, the fat DVD pack. So it came in yesterday. So I'm looking forward to sitting down and watching it and enjoying that. So
That's the only way to do it, man. You got to watch all the extra shit, all the extra stuff that went into making that movie. It was a pretty big production. But speaking of movies, I actually read something earlier today that kind of lifted my spirits a little bit, because the upcoming film that they're claiming is a Ghostbusters movie that actually is not and will not be acknowledged as such, does not have a lot of friends here on the Nerd Bucket podcast. Rightfully so, because it's absolute trash. I don't need to see it. I don't need to have sex with a cow to know that I don't want to fuck a cow. Much as I don't need to see this movie to know that it's a piece of shit. I know that I'm not going to like it. So, but there is something coming out of the Ghostbusters camp that I think they probably should have done to begin with, because it could give us what we want in a Ghostbusters movie, getting around the logistics problems. And that would be they're planning on doing a Ghostbusters animated film. And the reason I say that this could give us what we want, with the exception of R.I.P. Harold Ramis, had they done this like 5 years ago, they could have brought the entire cast back to do all the voices and everything, and then just CG'd, the characters, because they're not going to do it traditional animation. It'll be computer animation, since that's all anyone does these days. And we literally could have had Ghostbusters 3. Because when you do it animated, the characters they're ageless, they're timeless. We could have made it take place right after Ghostbusters 2, which would have been awesome. So I'm looking forward to this. I'm hoping that they're going to get the original people involved, Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd and Ernie Hudson, bring them back to do the voices and voice their characters. I think that would be really awesome. That could definitely ease some of the pain of the abomination known as the new Ghostbusters film. Here's what I'm thinking, Tyler. I'm thinking that the new, air quotes, Ghostbusters film. Do you remember the first Ghostbusters cartoon?
Yeah, the real Ghostbusters.
Not that one.
I don't remember the
There's
first
one
one
before
though.
that. The first Ghostbusters cartoon before the real Ghostbusters cartoon was simply cashing in on the name. It looked nothing and had nothing to do with the Ghostbusters movie. It had nothing in common with it at all. It was like if Hanna-Barbera did a Ghostbusters cartoon, which I think they did this actually, it would basically be this cartoon. It's fucking terrible. That, I think this new Ghostbusters film is basically the film translation of that animated series, where the only thing it has in common with the franchise is the name. So I'm going to put those two in the same category. It's not the real Ghostbusters. Never going to be.
Yeah.
Period. No Peter Venkman, no Ray Stantz, no Winston. No, sorry, not Ghostbusters. End of discussion. So,
you would love my friend Tyler Monk, because he loves Ghostbusters. Like, he has the passion of Ghostbusters that you do.
Really?
Yeah, he loves some Ghostbusters. I ought to get him to talk Ghostbusters with you, because that's all, like, he's always quoting Ghostbusters.
Fuck yeah.
I don't know if he's excited for this new one or not.
I'd say probably
I'll have
not.
to ask him, but probably not.
If he's a real Ghostbusters fan, I would have to say no.
But unfortunately, Ghostbusters 2 kind of ruined the whole franchise for a lot of us, because I guess, I personally, I like Ghostbusters 2. Now, nobody can say that the second one was near as good as the first one. The first one was incredible, but
of course not.
The second one made a lot of missteps, especially with Sigourney Weaver having a baby and all that. I just thought that was kind of corny. But I was listening to a interview with Bill Murray, and he kind of cited that the critical reception of 2 was kind of the reason that he never did anything else with the Ghostbusters franchise for a long time. So
I can't believe that somebody like Bill Murray would give a shit about things like that.
I guess he does.
He's fucking Bill Murray, dude.
Yeah.
When does he care what anyone thinks?
But it was interesting hearing, his opinion on that whole thing. But he kind of marches to his own beat.
He does.
I was listening to like how he got into like a certain movie, and basically you have to like find him and then come and meet with him wherever he's at. And I know like this one director, he like was like, well, I'm gonna be on so and so if you want to meet me there. And he came and like picked him up in a airport, and they just like rode around for like an hour or two talking. And he's like, well, I'm gonna drop you off now. And basically they have like a verbal agreement for him to be in the movie. And
wow.
You don't know until he like shows up for the movie if he's for sure going to be in it or not. So Pretty interesting how he, does things these days. But definitely one of the greatest comedians of our time.
I think of all the people in Hollywood that I'd ever want to hang out with, he would probably be at the top of my list.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, because it's just you never know what he's going to do.
And who just does not love his appearance in what's the movie, the zombie movie?
Zombieland.
Zombieland, yeah.
And he plays himself.
Yeah, that was so great. They go to his house.
We're going to the tippity top of the A list here. And he's like, he goes up, and Woody Harrelson is like, he's basically us.
Right.
In the movie. He's representing, he's like, Bill fucking Murray! He's like so ecstatic, and it's like, and dude, when they get stoned and they're doing Ghostbusters, and like Woody Harrelson is wearing this shit, and they're like, he's doing it with the vacuum and crap. I was like, that is literally exactly what I would do if I were hanging out with Bill Murray. Like, this would be like, I'm going to put a gun in my mouth when I leave because my life will be depressing. It will never be better than this. Like, ever. There's no way. I mean, like, you could give me all the riches in the world. It wouldn't equal this. It's like, dude, I got to bust ghosts with Bill Murray.
Right.
Like, what's better? Like, fucking lightsaber fight with Luke Skywalker? Okay, maybe. That'd probably be pretty close. But, or whip lessons from Harrison Ford, and Indiana Jones. Yeah, maybe. But there's not a whole lot of things that can compete with that, ladies and gentlemen. That's near the top of the bucket list, as far as I'm concerned. So, well, you had asked me something last time we spoke, Tyler. You had asked me, I don't remember if we did this on the podcast. No, we did do this on the podcast, where you had asked me to bring onto the podcast my favorite or most prized either comic book, or we agreed it could be a comic book related collectible. So I have two, actually, that are directly related, so they're not like north-south or anything like that. They're kind of peanut butter and chocolate, because they're from the same source material, and I just feel that they kind of complement each other. Did you do your homework? Did you get your trinket, dude? Did you get your shit?
I've got my stuff, and I actually have a kind of honorable mentions. I have two as well.
Okay. Well, you know what? This was your idea, dude. I'm going to let you take the floor. Impress the shit out of me.
All right.
See if you can nerd me out here.
Well, I'll start off with the honorable mention.
Okay.
A couple years ago, I went to a comic convention. I've got to meet Stan Lee, and I got him to sign a few comic books. And as an honorable mention, my probably second most prized comic book in my entire collection would be Giant Size X-Men #1.
Very nice.
Can you see the signature on it?
I can, yes. That's cool, right, man.
There. And this comic book was really significant because it was like the first appearance of several X-Men. I believe it was the very first appearance of Warpath, Colossus,
yep.
Storm, and maybe Nightcrawler. But it was like the first appearance of like 3 or 4 different X-Men. So X-Men was always like my go-to in comics. I love the X-Men, and my favorite of all is Wolverine. And my #1 prized comic possession in my collection here is the Incredible Hulk. I
was going to guess
181.
You've got the first appearance of Wolverine.
Yeah, first appearance of Wolverine, and I've got it signed by Stan Lee. So, great comic right there. Basically, Wolverine whooping the Hulk's ass. Very few people out there that can do it, and he is. What I thought was funny on the cover of this is he's here, the world's first and greatest Canadian
superhero. Yeah, a lot of people forget that Wolverine is Canadian.
Right. So I thought that was pretty funny. But yep, that's my two most prized comic books in my collection.
All right,
comic related items.
adjust my mic here so that I can grab mine because mine are a little bit heftier. Don't quite have the low weight that a comic book does. So, okay, first I'm going to show you this one thing that honestly breaks my heart is not complete anymore, and this is my own stupid ass fault that it is not. It's just, it got knocked over like several times. And shit broke. And this would be very expensive to replace. So I got a really great deal on it. Okay, so there's this very famous sculptor out there who does a lot of comic book related sculptures. There's basically two big names. There's Randy Bowen and then there's Mr. Claiborne Moore. What I'm going to show you was sculpted personally by Mr. Claiborne Moore, who I seem to prefer a little bit more than Randy Bowen. And that is the Darkness statue. This is a recreation of Darkness #1. The cover basically looked just like this, where the main character, Jackie Estacado, aka the Darkness, is sitting on this little rooftop perch. And what's missing from this, unfortunately, he had several, you can see one of them, the only guy left there, one of the Darklings, hanging out with him. But he had one on his back, there was one back here, one on the side, and everything like that. He had a bunch of different ones kind of hanging out there with him on the perch. And it's such an iconic cover. One of my favorite comic books of all time, and one that I feel does not get nearly enough love. It would make a fucking amazing movie. Made two great games out of it for the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. If you have not played them, especially the first one. The second one's okay, but the first one is, I put it in my top 5 favorite Xbox 360 games ever for two reasons. Number one, they got Paul Jenkins, who writes the comic, to write the story for the game. So everything you see in the game is written by the guy, the most famous writer to ever write for them. It's literally ripped straight from his brain. The dialogue and everything, I mean, the characters, it's spot. I mean, I have a complete Darkness collection, guys, so real Darkness fan here. It is fucking spot on. I think it's Kirk Acevedo, I think, is the guy's name, the actor that they got to play Jackie Estacado. He fucking nails it as far as his voice, man. He's got the perfect New York accent. Slight little bit of Queens, little bit of Long Island mixed in there, and the way that he talks is so cool. Like that, I wish that I had a voice like that. And the exchanges that you have with people, where he's just like, "Listen to me, shithead. You're gonna give me the keys, or I'm gonna take them from you." And he's like, he doesn't even need to elevate his voice. He's such a bad motherfucker that he can talk in a whisper. And my only complaint, really, and this isn't really against the game because this was following the comics of the time, the Darkness does not look like this anymore, unfortunately. He's mainly dressed in regular clothes. He wears like a long coat and everything like this. But this is what I think of when I think of the Darkness. This isn't a costume or something he has to put on. It's basically armor that forms around his body when his power manifests. And for those of you not in the know, as far as how it works, I'll give you just a real quick, brief summary. The Darkness power is basically hereditary. It's passed down through the Estacado line of people going back centuries. Like they've done prequels all the way back to the Pirates age, where all the male Estacados basically inherit this power when they turn 21. And it's kind of a catch-22, because the problem is that if an Estacado procreates, meaning he conceives a child with with a woman, basically, not only does the power pass to the child, but he instantly dies. So the second that sperm fertilizes that egg, off switch. So for a guy who's basically a hitman for the mafia and like a good-looking dude, womanizer and shit like that, this is a fucking curse, to say the very least, because dude can only bang chicks that are basically sterile. But the upside is his power is one of the most imaginative things that any comic book creator's ever come up with. Basically, in the presence of darkness, meaning the absence of light, he can create anything that he wants. He's limited only to his imagination. So it's kind of like being a Green Lantern, but like kind of anti-hero-ish. Instead of being a cop, he's basically a crook. So, for those of you fans of the Witchblade out there, the Darkness is the opposite side of the coin. The Witchblade was actually created to battle the Darkness. Even though in the comics, the Witchblade and the Darkness kind of team up, from time to time. She's a cop and he's a criminal. But again, if you haven't checked out the Darkness game, seriously, it is a fucking amazing game. I love that so much. I cannot say enough about it. It's a shooter. It's got a little RPG in it. It is so fucking good. You have to check it out. But, so that was my runner-up since that shit was kind of broken. But I do have another thing here that also comes from Claiborne Moore that is not broken. And this is a little bit rarer than the statue you just saw. A little bit fucking heavier, too. This is a big deal. Excuse me just a second. Hold on. All right. So here we basically have the same thing. If you look real close on your camera there, you can see he's still up on the perch. This is actually kind of difficult to hold with one arm, guys. And I pick up heavy shit. But he's holding, he's on the little perch, just like the other one. You got a few Darklings hanging around here, like little dude ready for the army and shit. And the coolest part... Let me put that up to the mic. It's a music box. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but it's basically... Let me turn it upside down. It's a snow globe.
Where was that sold at?
This was sold through Claiborne Moore Collectibles. Same as the first one. He also sculpted this one. And this thing is really heavy. This must weigh, I don't know, at least 10 pounds. As far as I know. And it's...
Wow.
These are very, very hard to find. I've seen very, very few of these. But I don't know. I just figured I got this second after I got the statue and I saw this. I was like, well, I've got one. I guess I got to get the other. So this sits on my desk actually in my office, and I absolutely love this thing. And it's got the cool Darkness logo there, all embossed. Such a great thing, man. If you guys like comic books and you've never read The Darkness, you honestly don't know what you're missing. It's freaking amazing. They do it in volumes, so each one's kind of self-contained. So please check it out. Good idea for a pickups sort of thing, Tyler.
Yeah.
Well done, dude.
Yeah, I like that, man. That was fun.
Yeah, dude.
I think that's something that the audience probably would like to.
I hope so.
To see too, because I like, I love seeing people like show like what's rare in their collection and things they're hard to find, and absolutely. I think all those were definitely that. So
I think so. Plus, it's an incentive for our listeners who only listen to the podcast to check it out on YouTube.
That's right. Watch it.
We give you an incentive, man. We give you some visuals here. So by all means, if you listen, stop by and check us out.
Yep.
You might see some extra shit. You might. Maybe.
So do we have a laser disc of the week this week, or
that's? I mean,
not
we
this
can't
week?
For Rad. No, I haven't gotten anything new. And I couldn't top that.
Okay, well, maybe next time. Maybe next time.
I do have a pickup though, a small one. I'll give you a little taste of the upcoming episode of Retro Game Haul. This is one I feel does not get nearly enough love. That would be Nightmare Creatures 2 for the Sega Dreamcast.
Yeah, I saw you talking about that the other day. That's a game that I've always wanted to play, but I've never gotten around to it. The first one or the second one.
Okay, so the first one is absolutely awesome.
I know it came out on, was it 64? And
yes. And PlayStation.
Did it come out on PlayStation? Okay, yeah.
PlayStation, obviously, you get a little bit more full motion video. But the 64, you get faster loading time, so it's kind of a trade-off.
Right.
But in that one, the first one, you get a choice between two characters. You get Ignatius, who's like a warrior monk, and you get Nadia, who's after Adam Crowley because she killed her father or something. She's kind of like ninja shit with a sword, and Ignatius has like a staff. But in this one, you're playing as one guy, this guy named Herbert Wallace, which you can see featured there on the cover. He's kind of got like bandages and crap over his face. And if I recall correctly, it starts with him escaping from a mental institution. So he's basically a mental patient, and Adam Crowley, the villain from the first one, is the reason that he's there. So he's basically out for revenge. But the big kicker in this one is the soundtrack. The entire soundtrack is by Rob Zombie. So you get some Super Beast, a little Meet the Creeper here. Right after Hellbilly Deluxe came out, is when this came out. So you definitely get a rockin' freaking dark metal soundtrack, which is definitely super cool. So if you haven't played Nightmare Creatures 1 or 2, guys, seriously, total freaking hidden gems. Anytime I can get something on the Dreamcast, I'm on it. Why doesn't Konami? Yeah, see, Konami again. Fucking Konami game. Revive Nightmare Creatures. What the fuck? So many good games, man.
They're not gonna do it. They're not gonna do it.
Oh, dude, they're not gonna bring back Castlevania or, Contra or anything like that. They sure as hell aren't doing Nightmare Creatures.
Right.
That's a fucking pipe dream. Is what it is, I suppose. I will say that I did watch Rad after we did the podcast for the first time.
Was it everything that you remember from the 80s?
I'll be honest with you, yes. It was really that good. I mean, like, is it a fucking 5-star movie? No. Like, or 4-star movie? No, it's not. But dude, the soundtrack, it's mainly done. I can't remember this guy's name. He does a lot of the songs. The songs are so poppy and catchy and good, and just you want, like, you find yourself rooting for the hero Crew Jones, because he's a small town kid. He doesn't have a lot of money and everything, and he's up against the corporate giant who it seems that every time that Crew overcomes an obstacle that they put in his way, they put another obstacle in his way. He wins the competition because they host it local, for a chance for, kind of an open tryouts, I guess you could say, for someone to run against the professionals, and he wins. And then, instead of just letting him do it, they say, well, you have to have a sponsor. And he's like, oh, shit. So he basically forms his own company selling T-shirts, and he becomes his own sponsor. He forms the Rad Racing T-shirt company. And then they say that your company has to have $50,000 in sales. And he's like, it's just like every time he gets closer, they keep kicking him down. And at the end, you want him to win. Like, it really is like Rocky, dude. You're like cheering him on, I mean, he's the small town kid with big dreams. This is his fucking shot, at $100,000 prize and everything. And this is all he's ever wanted to do. And you gotta love it, dude. I mean, it's some of it's so cornball, like when they go to the school dance and they're basically dancing on BMX bikes doing tricks and crap. It's him and Aunt Becky from Full House.
Wow.
It's corny as fuck, dude. But dude, at the same time, the BMX stunts in this are fucking amazing. They got literally the two best riders who rode BMX in the 80s are the stunt doubles for this. You can sometimes see when Aunt Becky's riding her bike, because she's a pro BMX rider in this. When you see her from the back, it's so obvious that it's a dude in a wig. It's not a fucking woman. It's like, yeah, that's okay. Aunt Becky just lost all that ass, but Lori Loughlin, oh my god, dude, she was so hot, and she's still hot now.
Is she going to be in the new Full House?
As I understand it, yes. They showed a picture where, because Uncle Jesse's going to show up, and they tweeted a picture showing them holding hands, and they both had wedding rings on their finger, and it was like Jesse and Becky still together after all the years, and it's like, you got to be like, aw, that's so cute. They're still together. They got the twin boys and everything. Dude, that's fucking adorable.
I just want to, since it's on Netflix, is there going to be nudity in the new Full House? A lot of those.
Can Bob Saget talk about coke?
A lot of those Netflix shows, kind of risque. Are we going to see that with Full House? Probably not.
With Candace Cameron, probably not. Bit of a Jesus freak, so no, probably not. I'd have to say.
Speaking of that, did I tell you about? I think I told you about this last week.
What's up?
But that new. It's the new series on Netflix, Narcos.
Yes, you did. I haven't gotten around to watching it yet, but it's in my queue.
Yeah,
so I will definitely get to it. Faux show.
All right, man. Well, I'm nerded out.
I think that's all I got, man. We're keeping this one pretty short this week. Just don't have much else.
Yep.
No, there wasn't a whole lot of news this week. Except my failure of everything in my game room, but whatever.
I'm interested to see if you can get it together for this next week.
I'm hoping.
Come together.
Got to get the adapter. We got to wait and see what Starland says. Hopefully they can fix it. And hoping this comes together, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, guys, definitely send us some questions for next week's podcast. I'd like to answer some more of your questions as always. But
Yeah, please leave us a question. If you're watching the video, if you're seeing this link on Facebook, man, either way, go to the Nerd Bucket Podcast page on Facebook. You can leave us a question there. Just, we got like a million different venues, man. Leave us a fucking question. We're nice.
Exactly.
We'll answer your questions. We are question whores. If you haven't figured that out already, just ask like a question. We're like, huh? Question, you say? So please, by all means, leave us a question. I have nothing else nerdy to say this week. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I'll do better.
Okay. Jimbo sad.
All right, guys. Well, until next time, this is Jimbo and Tyler.
No, that's Tyler and Jimbo.
No, I'm Jimbo.
You don't look like a Jimbo. You look like a Tyler.
Nah, but until next time, guys, stay nerdy.
And stay dirty.
Yeah. I like it. All right, later, guys.
See you guys next time.